seen him putting them up. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
That's for later tonight. So.
Just takes the camera and turns it during the podcast. Like,
Hi. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JH Show. Today, there's the notification, so that means we're live. That's good. We are live, and we have a special guest on the show today, Mr. Shields. Hey, how are you doing today?
All right, doing great.
That's awesome. So, kind of a little background on Mr. Shields. Mr. Shields is my old band teacher, and as well as Traven's old
music teacher.
music teacher. So, little
I
intro.
still suck at singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not your fault though. I'm just horrible at it.
Yeah. So, a little introductory on Mr. Shields. He has been, or was a teacher at Millard High School, a high school I went to and graduated from, as well as Traven. He's been there, had been there for, 20 years?
21.
21 years? Wow. That's cool. Yeah, it was cool because the year I graduated was the year that he had finished his final year, so that was kind of fun. But yeah, so welcome to the show. We're
Thank
glad
you.
to have you.
Good to be here.
It's kind of fun. I set up sound foam on the ceiling, so it's amazing what that'll do.
When it stays up there.
When it stays up there.
Fall.
Some of them fall off.
I remember a couple of times we're just sitting here and they're just falling down during the show. They're just like, don't look at that.
So, yeah, so I've really gotten into music. Obviously, I do my own stuff now, and so I added the sound foam. The sound foam has made a major difference.
Yep.
It's weird how just that amount, if I was to take that off, the echo in here is ridiculous. And so it's kind of fun what you can do to adjust sounds and stuff. So the podcast itself has changed so much over the years. We've done it. This is our second year of the podcast. We've added this mic is my newest, which is the Audio-Technica T36, I believe, or the 35. AT35, and this was the most expensive mic on the set, and then Traven's was the second most expensive, and then the rest are all just about average mics. So it's fun.
You get a new one eventually.
Yeah, well, you'll get one someday. But yeah, we've been doing this for a while. So what? I guess we'll start with the questions. What really started you on your career in the music? That side of things.
Well, I think it was pretty natural. Music was a big part of my life growing up. From the time I was small, we had a piano in the home, had guitars. My dad played guitar, and my little sister was really, really good on the piano, and so we always had music around the home. And I really enjoyed music in school. Started in the 6th grade, played trumpet, and then got into other instruments as needed. But music in high school was a blast. That was everything to me.
Right. Yeah.
And so when it came to time to decide what to do, it wasn't automatic, but it was always looming right there that music was the thing. And so that's what we did. We jumped in, and we've been doing music ever since.
Yeah. Where you studied at Southern Utah University? Is that right?
That's where I got the first degree at Southern Utah, and I was involved in Opus there, a renowned small choir, chamber choir. We actually sang jazz. And I actually toured with a small group called Primo Plus at the same time. We did shows in Salt Lake and in Vegas and just kind of wherever.
That's fun.
So, yep, SU.
Yeah, that's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's fun because when I was in high school with Mr. Shields, I started kind of my own little band freshman year, and it turned out to do really well for us. We did a lot of things locally, and it was a lot of fun. And it really kind of started there was that push for me to help the other guys, and together as a group we kind of grew into push each other musically, and it was a lot of fun. And to this day everybody will get together sometimes and just play, and that is one of the best things about being a musician, is you can get together with anybody and just play. So throughout the years of high school, Mr. Shields and the band and stuff would always play during the basketball games and the football games, and it was a blast to go with the cheerleaders. We'd go on a bus with the cheerleaders as well as the band. Everybody would load up stuff, and we'd go to the football games during playoff season. Those are some of my favorite memories. Mr. Shields is a phenomenal trumpet player. It was fun to watch him play with the band, and it was good times, the fun stuff. Do you have any like specific things that kind of stood out in the years that I was in high school with the final 4 years of your career there?
Well, I've got to be honest. With age, memories kind of fade and dissipate a little. So, you know what? There aren't any real specific memories, but there's an overall feeling of joy, of happiness, of accomplishment. I really feel good about what all my students were able to achieve and the things that they did, and like you say, those were fun times.
Yeah,
they were
really fun.
Really good experiences, and they were just as good and exciting and fun for me as they were for you guys, I guess.
Yeah. I had like in my head a whole bunch of questions to ask, and now that he's here, I'm like,
Can't remember.
Can't remember.
Can't think of them.
Is the old age getting you too?
Yes.
So, this is one thing I've noticed, and this is one thing I was thinking about asking was, a lot of modern music is now very blues based. There are a lot of blues riffs in modern songs today. One artist that I listen to, his name is 2 Feet. He does a lot of blues riffs, just simple little blues riffs on the guitar mixed with some bass and some synth, and it's really popular stuff. And a lot of music, modern music, is swinging that way. Why do you think that's
Absolutely.
becoming so popular now?
Well, I think for 2 reasons. The first reason is that it is so grounded. I mean, the blues, the original blues movement was really, it came out of people's emotions. It came out of their hardships. It came out of their desire to express themselves and what they were feeling and dealing with, and so it was great back then
Yeah.
because it dealt with the core emotions that people were feeling, and it tried really to lift people out of their depravity or whatever else
Right.
they had going on, their depressing situations. I think it's really cool that it has come back and
Yeah.
it is more popular. I've been paying attention, I've watched 2 or 3 docs now about just how blues has influenced and is continuing to influence modern music. And so the first reason I think is because it's emotionally based, it's grounded in real life emotional life experience. I think the second reason is that musically, I wouldn't say it's simple, but it's got such a solid pattern to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That whether it's a 12 bar or whatever it is, it's got such a solid pattern that it really is kind of natural. It's almost second
it
nature.
is simplistic too.
Yeah, it is.
As somebody who loves blues riffs
Yeah.
myself, I was a very big blues guy. We'd play jazz, and I found a love for blues riffs, especially because of B.B. King.
Oh, yeah.
I found a love for B.B. King my junior year of high school, and just the sounds that he could play, and they were simple.
Right.
But man, the feeling behind the music was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And I'd never really felt that until listening to B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all of these artists. Just that sound behind a blues riff is amazing. So it is kind of interesting to see how it's in the modern music. It's really coming back.
Mhm.
So, what's another question? So what do you listen to today? Like, what's an artist that you would listen to today? Or are you like me? I listen to all the old stuff. So.
Well, that would be my go-to.
Yeah.
I honestly, I still prefer 70s rock and roll, classic rock. I have a real spot, an eclectic spot for harmony. I really enjoy vocal harmonies. So, like yesterday, I threw on some Take 6 and then heard a lot of these other groups. Acapella went through a revival not too many years ago, and I really enjoy that to a point. But it's got to be solid, based in the blues, in jazz, and gospel rather than
Modern
kind of
pop.
stuff
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
So So I listen to 70s rock and roll. I listen to a little a cappella, blues, and gospel music, and the occasional classical tune.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're the reason I actually started listening to Chicago. So that's fun. Because I'd heard of Chicago, but we'd never really listened to it. And then in band, we played the song 25 or 64,
Yeah.
and that's what
Yep.
kicked it off. That song
Yeah.
was a classic.
Well, I kind of reveal my age. Chicago was hot when I was in high school.
yeah.
But I think it's interesting. Here's a side note for all of you geeks who geek out on music trivia and stuff like that. Frozen 2, and like an idiot, I can't remember which one it is, but one of the songs out of the soundtrack, Frozen 2, is basically stolen from Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, so you sit down and listen to that, and you're
Dude,
thinking,
wait a minute.
wow,
These
this
lyr-
is Chicago. I mean, the instrumentation, the arrangement is totally Chicago. It's really,
That's
really
funny.
pretty funny.
Yeah, I've noticed
That's
that
interesting.
a lot of pop stars have taken a band like that, a Journey song or something, taken the
Like a snippet, basically.
right, a
Yeah.
4-chord pattern, and then they'll take that and try and adapt it to their own stuff, and that's kind of fun to see that. My girlfriend has a question for you there.
Okay.
Has he ever been cross country or just around Utah when you toured with your band or whatever?
Well, we actually went down. Let's see, where was it? Newport Beach, Santa Monica. We were down in Southern California for a while on a couple of trips. San Diego area. So we've been there. That's about. Well, we actually did a lot of recording, and sang a little in the Denver area, metropolitan area. But other than that, it's been pretty well
Local
around
stuff,
here. Yep.
yeah. Was touring as tough on you as it was for? Because when we toured, we went down to St. George and Salt Lake. We went all over the state mostly. It was exhausting. Was it exhausting for you? As
Not only exhausting, but I had, by the time I was in that group, we'd started our family, and
oh
I missed
yeah,
home.
yeah,
I missed
yeah,
I missed being with my wife and my baby, and so that was hard.
yeah.
Not only exhausting performing and traveling, but I mean, in a small group like that, you gotta
Right.
be your own roadies. You're
Exactly. You have to move everything,
you're
and
moving your kit
it's
and
a lot of work.
and hauling and unloading and loading, and that was definitely exhausting.
Yeah, so by the end of the night, we'd get done with a set. We were just exhausted. We'd get everything loaded in the truck and head home, just tired, But it was worth it. We had a lot of fun and a lot of good memories. So, and that's really what, out of everything, the struggles we went through or whatever, those memories outweigh anything we ever, had
sure.
problems with. So,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some good questions. What was the funnest play that you've ever done as because you did the plays in high school? Is there one that really stands out?
Well, I think all of them were fun. I mean, anytime you get kids on a stage and let them loose, it can get funny and fun, and
Yeah.
it was. There were a couple that stood. Well, the real fun ones we did. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat twice. And
Yeah.
they were both fun, just because they're crazy.
Yeah, all
wild
over the
shows.
place.
So those were really fun, and they were pretty good too. We did Sound of Music, and
Yeah, I remember that one.
we spent extra money and time on sets, and so the set was really well done.
Yeah,
And we had a couple of key characters. The girl that played Maria, I won't tell you who she was, but she did a phenomenal job. It was so well done, and her connection to that character and with the other characters when she's taking care, looking after Von Trapp's children, she had such a stage presence and connection with those kids.
right.
It was
It worked.
outstanding. Similar situation with Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh yeah,
Fiddler on the Roof is pretty straightforward, but the guy we had played Tevye, I swear he watched that. He watched the old movie, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times a day for I don't know how long.
Yeah, just to get the
Wow.
part down so
He
could nail
was
it.
Tevye.
Well, you can always tell when somebody's dedicated to a part just by how they portray the character in the play itself. And if they're doing their research and really taking time, it makes the show so much better. It's funny because you can always tell in the plays I was in just alone. You can always tell who really was wanting to focus. There were
Yeah.
some times where we always had a backup just in case somebody was sick or something. There was times the backups were better than the lead, you know. So
Yeah, that's not unusual.
which was interesting. The plays, I'm trying to remember all the plays we did in high school. My freshman year was The Music Man, which was probably my favorite year. That was a great. I did a lot of costume work for that
Yeah.
play, if I remember. And it was a lot of fun to get all that put together. Then we had Peter Pan, which I helped build the ship for that one. That was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. There was so much work that goes into it that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that the
Oh, yeah,
amount of work that
absolutely.
goes in behind
You know,
it.
my favorite thing about especially those two that you mentioned there is that I really did give most of the responsibility to you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys took it and ran, and that was a highlight for me.
It was cool to see what
good.
we came up with, and
That was great.
it was awesome. Yeah, my girlfriend was on the costume crew, so yeah. That was another thing that was really cool, just as how everything went into it behind the scenes, and you get to see how a production like that is done. So, you know, growing up, I'd go to the Tuacon and down to the plays and stuff. We'd see these big plays and stuff, and it was like, okay, now that I was in high school, I was able to see what went on behind
Yeah.
it and the amount of work. And it's so much work, but it's so much fun to see the end result and to see it work out. It's amazing,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and it paid off. So let's see, I'm trying to remember. This would have been my freshman year too. I, with a few seniors and a junior, we took a 24, we had, what was it, 24 hours? We had to do a movie. I don't know if you remember, we man, we had to film this movie. It was a short film, and it was so much work to write the script, the music score,
Yes.
the costuming, and it was just like a minute and a half is what we
Yeah.
had. Just that minute and a half to get all those scenes done, which was three scenes at 30 seconds apiece. That was so much work. And,
Yes.
I was in charge of the music score, and my buddy was in charge of the scripting and the filming. And holy cow, just a minute and a half, and we were exhausted. By the time we got it done, I think I'd passed out. I was just done. We were in the auditorium. I was on the auditorium stage, just done. I passed out because I was up writing a score, and I didn't know how much work it would take to write a score
Yeah.
for this minute and a half. But each scene was a different tone, and you know we had to get the right. I was like, "Do you like this, guys? You know, is this gonna work? I don't know. That doesn't sound, you know, dark enough for this scene." Back to the drawing board. And I get, you know, there's so much work that goes behind it. A production like that, and that was just a minute and a half.
Yeah.
You know, and so you see these big films and stuff. The amount of work that goes into something like that is
Yeah, 2
phenomenal.
hours.
2 hours
hours.
of just
Two and
doing
a half. Like,
Well, the Harry Potter movies is over
Yeah,
2 hours.
yeah. The amount of work.
That's why we're talking millions in the budget.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
months worth of production time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
why.
So, with the coronavirus, this is a big thing right now. A lot of people are freaking out about it. What are your thoughts on this? First off, like, what do you think is? Do you think? Because in my opinion, I know it's bad, but I think people are overreacting a bit. What are your thoughts on this?
I can see where you would. I was the same way a couple of weeks ago, but okay, so the coronavirus isn't as deadly, or is not as, in my opinion, is not any more deadly than N1H1. However, it is so much more contagious.
Yeah.
And here's the problem: they talk about the curve. If we allowed COVID-19 to spread quickly, it would overwhelm our medical.
Yeah. Our
Yeah,
our
it
medical
would be-
field
it
would
would
not
be
be.
It would
horrible.
just
It'd be
totally
horrible.
overwhelm it, and then things would get serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's got both sides. The virus itself isn't that deadly. However, it's contagious, and if it overwhelmed our medical machine, then we would
Then it
probably
could
be at the
actually
creek.
probably
Yeah.
become dangerous because
Yeah.
the medical would be backed up and they couldn't help everyone.
That's right.
So
Right.
if they can't help everyone, then people start to die because they're not getting that attention.
Right.
That's
And that's when numbers start to climb, and then everyone starts freaking out even more than they already are.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you think we're at the point where we've caught it early enough we can get ahead of it at this point as the U.S. is concerned?
Yeah, I think so. We've slowed the curve a little bit this past week. My concern right now is getting the government together to pass that stimulus bill. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of irritating that they can't come across
can't
the aisle
come.
to get that
Yeah,
done.
Just
yeah.
figure it out.
But
You'd
yeah,
think they'd agree on something
That-
like that, but
national emergency,
Yeah.
but we're
Everyone's
not
in
going to
trouble.
we're
cross
not
party
gonna
lines.
agree.
So.
47 vote.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad we were as proactive as we were.
Right.
We could have been a little quicker on the jump.
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
You know,
we're in reasonable shape. So
yeah. Well, and it's amazing that the schools have shut down and everything, and in this time of being shut down, everyone's kind of at home. The creativity. I've seen a lot of videos online. People are getting creative.
yeah.
There's a DJ in California. He's out of a job because his club's closed. So he went out on his balcony, just fired up his machine out front, had his neighbors out on their porches dancing, you
That's
know,
great.
and so it's kind of cool to see the creativity of people that when they're not, doing stuff out away where they would have a job or something, they're able to do so much more,
Yeah.
and you realize how much more you can do in a day when you're just sitting at home.
Right.
And then you realize how much time you were actually sitting at home instead of working.
That's
You know,
right.
and so there is kind of a plus side to this
Yeah.
if you look at the silver lining.
And we're gonna get the lazy epidemic after
Yeah.
this.
That'll be the next thing.
You can come out of your house now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to.
I don't know. It's been pretty fun in there.
But yeah, the amount of creativity is amazing right now.
Yeah, I
and
have to agree.
It's that's going to be a really cool thing to see, and being able to sit down and say write a movie script. Whereas if you were out on the set filming and stuff, you can get that done. But now you've got time to actually sit down and write that.
Mhm.
For example. But yeah, this thing is going to. Hopefully we can stabilize. That's as far as the coronavirus is concerned, because the stock market is going to struggle really bad if
Yeah,
this.
that's
It's already starting to
Yeah.
drop a little bit.
So-
here
a little bit. It's
It's
it
dropping.
tanked. Let's just
and there. Yeah, let's just be
Let's
honest.
So,
it tanked.
I've invested. I started investing in stocks a couple days ago, and it's really simple. I didn't know how easy it was to actually get started. It's pretty cool. You can start from your phone.
This is a good time to start.
Yeah, it's a good
Oh,
time
yeah.
to start because it's at the bottom right now, and when it comes back up. So, I invested in, of course, gaming companies and
Oh, yeah.
and the media industry. And right now, everything is up because everyone's at home watching Netflix, which is what I invested in. Playing games, another
Yeah.
company I invested in, and it's going up because everyone's at home, which is nice. So.
Mhm.
But see, the thing with the stock market is it's fluctuated all the time. You don't know if you're gonna have a good day or a bad day, but in the amount of, I
It's
started.
when they give the all clear, take it out of the
Yeah.
gaming stuff and put it in the other stuff.
No, you just want to let it sit and invest in stuff. So in the amount of 2 days that I've been doing it, I've gone from $50 to $211. So
bad.
it's pretty impressive, just the amount of stuff. But then again, if this is, everyone goes outside and does stuff, you could go down, and I go from 211 back to $15. So it's a very fluctuated thing, and the stock market's all over the place. But kind of fun to see. Have you ever invested in stocks?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Did it work out?
It was working really well before the crash.
Yeah, in 2008.
I lost a little then, but,
Yeah.
but that wasn't too bad because I had it in index funds rather than anything that
Okay.
would take a big hit. So I did okay there. But yeah, we were looking great. We were averaging about $1,200 a day. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, for 5 weeks before all of this hit the fan.
Uh-huh.
I was making with those investments. I was making about $1,200 every day.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And then in the first couple of days, I lost about half of it.
Yeah, it was a big crash. I seen the graph. It just
Ooh.
It
took a
was-
nosedive
yeah.
hard, and it's gotten so bad, because of everyone's after stuff. Paper goods is what you need to invest in right now, So, Yeah, stocks are interesting, you know, and I wish I would have gotten started in it earlier.
Yeah.
You know, had I started years ago, I could be. You know, when Apple a few years ago, if I would have started in 2012, they exploded. You know, after the releases of new phones and stuff. If I would have started in 2012, I could be making a lot of money now because their stocks at the time were about $50 a share. So whereas now they're 250, 300. So it's interesting. But yeah, kind of fun. So you're what do you do now? You um,
Well, interesting story. I'm a speech therapist.
oh
Yeah,
okay.
I've always been interested in speech, and the opportunity to came to go back to school, and so I spent 4 years getting a couple of degrees in communications, and I work mostly with the little preschool and elementary age children. I've got about 65 of those,
Wow,
plus some secondary kids in middle school and high school.
that's crazy.
So, yeah, speech therapist.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Speaking of speech, in that general thing, so I do on YouTube when I'm doing gaming. I'd like to do impressions and stuff, impersonations.
Right.
I've gotten really good at a Scottish accent, and the problem is with a Scottish accent, a lot of people mix it up with the Irish accent. But the problem is with an Irish accent is kind of more musical. Irish accent's a lot smoother on the tone. An Irish accent kind of goes up and down, and it's smoother in your intonation. But a Scotsman's a lot more rough, and he's kind of in your face. And so it's fun to do these accents when I'm playing games with people. And you know, I'll do that, and I'll do President Trump. As a matter of fact, you know, everything's fake. Fox News, media. You know, and I'll do these impressions while I'm playing games. It's fun. I wish I would have gotten into it earlier, like in high school, because that would have been so much more fun for plays and stuff to be
Yep.
able to have that ability to do an accent, because that is something that I think we needed a lot more of back in then. So.
It's funny. I think I actually did that back in high school, but I can't do it no more now.
Yeah.
Like I'd always practice them in all the movies
Yeah.
and just watch it over and over again.
Yeah, it's fun. So voice acting is something I might look into because I'm really enjoying it. You know, doing impressions of certain characters, and I've enjoyed that a lot. Traven, let's go to you. Do you remember any plays that you did in high school?
I didn't do no plays in high school.
No, you don't remember which ones you did?
Well, yeah, that either. It was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Graduated 8 years ago, so it's like 8 years plus.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Time flies. Time is flying. You know, that's one
I
thing.
might
that
have been in
noticed.
some of the plays, but I don't. There was nothing big or
Yeah.
anything. I was like, no, I did not like the stage. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember just trying to sing in music class, but my singing voice was horrible. So once I started getting above everybody, I started going back down.
Yeah. That's funny.
I was like, I tried.
There are always those kids like you're in your situation that are there and they're trying their best, you know. Everybody's got talent in the music, as far as if they really want to try it, you know. That's one thing that Mr. Shields was always telling us was nothing worth having comes easy.
Right.
And I have learned that so much, you know. I've worked my butt off to try and get, you know, when I started my band, I worked my butt off to get us going places, and it was not easy. And that goes for anything you do. You're going to have to work your butt off to try and get something accomplished. What would you say is the greatest achievement that you accomplished in your career or in your lifetime at this point?
That's tough. One of the most important things, and I don't know, it's not an accomplishment, and I owe it all to my wife anyway, but my family's the biggest thing to me right now.
Yeah.
Aside from that, really just especially the last 10 or 15 years as a music teacher, my biggest concern was trying to convince kids that they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Right.
And hopefully, and again, that's not an accomplishment either, it's just kind of being a teacher, but I really, really hope that that most, if not all of them, took that to heart and achieved their dreams. Did things that maybe they didn't think was possible before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really cool look on things, and it's funny you point that out, achieving a dream, because at this point it's small dreams, at this point for me, because I wanted to start a podcast. I had no idea where to start, and so I did some research, and it was in the idea that I could do what I wanted, but it was
Right.
going to take some work to get there. So I had to do some research, figure out how to start, figure out what I needed, figure out all the stuff that goes behind it, and I accomplished it. I've been doing this for 2 years, and it's awesome. I enjoy it. I do it every Monday, and it's fun to have these guys over, and we share stories and stuff, and it's really cool. And it's something that without me trying to put forth the effort in, I would have never done. Or, and the one thing that really is hard on a lot of people nowadays is doubt. A lot of people doubt themselves, and it's one thing that's really hard to overcome as a human being. What is a tip, I guess, or what is your advice on overcoming a doubt? Because it's so hard, to start something. It's not going to be easy.
That's right, and like you said, anything worth having is going to take a little bit of effort, if not a lot. The main thing when you're talking about doubt is you need to give your dreams more credit than you do your doubt. There will be doubts.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's hard
It
sometimes.
is.
But the biggest thing is always give more credit to your dreams and your goals than you do to those doubts. Doubts are natural. They're going to come. It maybe even helpful to you in the long run. But don't let doubts outweigh or overcome your dreams and your goals.
Yeah.
Keep them in the forefront.
Good. Do you guys have questions? I'm trying to think of something. Feel free to ask.
Honestly, what would you say is your favorite instrument?
That one's hard
That's
to
a
do.
good question.
I'm always curious about that.
Yeah.
That is tough. My primary instrument, a lot of people don't believe in this, but my primary instrument is my voice.
Yeah.
That's.
However,
I was gonna go with banjo.
banjo.
Banjos are fun.
I started on the trumpet before I really did anything else, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. But I played the bass growing up, and I played the sax in the jazz band, played the French horn in concert band, played upright bass in the orchestra in college. Given all that, I think I would say voice number one and trumpet number two.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's good on the trumpet. So,
I don't know.
what was the hardest instrument to learn?
Probably French horn.
Yeah.
That's a little tricky. It's all of those brass instruments you control with
With your
tightness of your
lips.
lip,
Mm-hmm.
your embouchure there, and with the French horn, it is so the differences are so minute
Mm-hmm.
that it really makes it
Yeah.
challenging to find the right pitches sometimes.
Yeah, the trumpet alone.
Intonation.
I did the trumpet for half a year. That was it's hard to try and get your lips just right,
Yeah.
and the tone and everything.
Yeah.
That's fun. For me, it's the hardest instrument I probably had to learn was the first one I ever learned, the piano, because I was stubborn, and mom was pushing me to play the piano, and I was like, I don't know, I just push this white thingy, like I don't really play piano.
Push it, it makes it sound.
Yeah, and so that was probably the hardest because I was stubborn and didn't really want to learn it.
Yeah.
But then, what really inspired me to play guitar was I heard a band on the radio. AC/DC's Back in Black came on the radio one day, and something clicked. I was like, what is this? You know, something, there was a power behind the music that, I don't know, it just clicked with me. I want to do that. So I got to learn the band and really learn the instruments. And they started the same way I did. I just picked up a guitar and started messing around with it. And then 6th grade, I took a band and started learning how to play. And I had it set in my mind that I was going to be the best out of the 5 guitarists we had. And out of those 5 guitarists, I think I'm the only one that still plays every day.
Probably.
So we had, I'll just mention first names. Mr. Shields will know who they are. We had my buddy Wyatt, my friend David, my buddy Mason, Nathan, and I. And out of all of those guys, I think I'm the only one that plays every day.
I'd have to agree with you.
So, and it was kind of sad because where was I? I think a few months ago I had my guitar at I think it was the arts festival we had here. I had my acoustic, and my buddy David come over and he's like, "Hey, can I play that?" And he forgot some chords. And you know, that's a fundamental thing that you know, how do you forget a chord? You know, that's burned into my brain at this point. You know, but it just goes to show, if you don't practice it every day, you're gonna lose it. But I have such a love for it. I'm like, I can't put this thing down, and I don't know if I ever will. With as much money as I've put into the stuff that I, you know, why would I put it down? And I enjoy doing it, and it's a lot of fun to just sit down and play, and it's cool. And the one thing that is really cool with the internet and now with everyone being home is I think that you're going to see a lot more musical booming, because everyone's going to try and learn an instrument. They're sitting at home not really knowing what to do, and so, hey, you know, I'll try and pick up a guitar or something, you know. One instrument that kind of had a boom my junior year and senior year of high school was the ukulele.
Yeah.
Yeah, had a huge boom. And the ukulele is such a funny instrument because me playing guitar, those strings, it would take me a second to learn it, but everyone was playing a ukulele, and it's like, play guitar, you know, come on, try it, just advance a little bit, play guitar.
Oh, great.
Jesse and Traven, was there an instrument you guys ever wanted to learn?
Guitar.
Guitar, yeah.
I mean, the ones that I mainly wanted to learn, the one that I still want to learn, because I did a little bit in high school, but I never really got invested into it, was the drums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my
Got the hair and everything.
yeah. But no, my music instructor, he wanted us to play, I can't remember, the xylophone first, and before we started to actually get into that. And he started me on the snare, and I was really, really into that. But after high school, I kind of let it slip and everything. The ones that I really got into were the saxophone, the clarinet, and guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The snare. So this brings me back to high school when we were in marching band. I loved snare. It was so fun to be in the snare. It was a fun instrument. And I can still remember some of the pattern. You know, some of the drum beats are still stuck in my head. So that's how drilled in we got it, and we marched to tempo. That's another thing. Okay, I'll do this in the mall without even thinking about it, and it's terrible. I mean, it's a good thing, but Mr. Shields had us so trained to marching to the beat and everything that now I'll be walking in the mall and a song will be playing, and I start walking to the tempo without even thinking about it.
Yep.
So
It's hard not to.
Yeah, as a musician, it's just drilled in my head. So we'll be walking in the mall, and Traven's like, "Why are you walking so fast?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, it's a fast song on. It's salsa's on, you know."
Arriba, arriba.
Yeah, something quick, which is, it's fun. But yeah, no, music has been a huge part of my life and still is to this day. And it's been fun. So here's a question: how much do you practice instruments?
Well, I sing every day.
Uh-huh.
I haven't played the trumpet in almost a year.
Wow.
My excuse for that is that
You're
I
busy.
loaned it to a great nephew
Oh, yeah.
so that he could play in the band.
Hmm.
But yeah, I haven't played trumpet for a long time, and it's been probably a year and a half or two since I picked up a bass guitar.
Yeah. What about
I sing
piano?
every day. Piano is Well, okay, let me tell you why I didn't play the piano in the first place.
It's the
I came
piano.
home from piano lessons when I was 9 years old. I raced my sister to the house, put my arm through a screen door,
Ooh.
painted the screen door, and cut those nerves right there you call the funny bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I severed all of those.
Oh.
And my hand was never quite the same. I
Yeah.
lost the feeling and movement of half of my hand, those
Oh.
two fingers right there. And so piano lessons stopped, and I never have gotten to
The
where I can actually play it
Yeah.
professionally again, even after practice and practice and practice. So
Yeah. Yeah, there were some songs that I'd hear and I wanted to play them, so I'd download or print off the sheet music for it, and then I'd realize I need some really long fingers to play some of these chords.
yeah,
I didn't have the
story.
longest fingers, and the same goes for some guitar riffs that I'd play, and especially in jazz. We'd have some of these chords, and I'm like, "What is this?" You know, it has to stretch. And so it was funny for the first, I think, 2 years of high school. I had my mom's old guitar, which is a blue guitar. It was a knockoff Les Paul, and it was fun. It was a fun guitar to use. It had decent tone, but it wasn't. Mr. Shields was like, if you're gonna play jazz, you need a better guitar. So I ended up getting the Epiphone SG, which has been a phenomenal guitar to
Yeah,
this day.
it's a good one.
It's good sounding, and then my dad got me the Fender Champion 100, which is a 212-inch speaker monster. That thing is so that I've seen this amp specifically at an Eric Clapton show.
Yeah.
So this thing's got some sound to it. They just had it mic'd up, but even mic'd up, the thing is loud. So I have it on level 2 on the volume while I'm playing here. So it's a lot of fun. But you know, it's crazy how much music impacts our lives and our moods. Is there a certain song that you can just put on and it'll cheer you up? Is there one that just brings you up?
Oh, there's more than one. There are hundreds. You know, that's interesting too. As I think about that, and I mentioned early on, I think I remember mentioning that when you get older, your memory goes a little bit.
Yeah.
My head is so full of music
Right.
that it's going all the time. It's going 24/7, whether it's out here
Yeah.
or just in here.
Uh-huh.
It's going all the time. So it's there are hundreds, literally hundreds, of songs that I can tap to
Yeah.
cheer me up.
Yeah.
Never a problem.
Mr. Blue Sky is my go-to. So, it's kind of funny that the memory bank of songs you're talking about that are in my head. I'm very 70s and 80s and partial 90s rock. So if someone was to play a song, I can tell you what the song is and who the artist is within a matter of seconds. It's crazy. You can play a certain song from that era, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's Journey," you know, "Who's Crying Now," you know, within a matter of seconds. The first chord, I'm like, "Oh, Who's Crying Now?" Journey. And it was funny. We were when I worked at my old job at the gas station. My buddy could not believe that I could get these songs within that amount of time. It's funny. I've listened to these songs over and over. They get stuck in my head, even if they're in the background of a place. You know, I'll be like, and when they're quiet in the background of a place, I'll be like, I know that piano riff. Hold on a second. Oh, that's 25/6/4. You know, like I just, and immediately it's kind of funny how that's drilled into our heads as musicians, which is really cool. So here's a question for you. What do you think of the records? Record playing it's coming back big
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Records. I've got a record player right there, and I've got a ton of records. Here's my favorite record, which is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
So-
you've got some classic rock and roll right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great, and the biggest thing for me is digital is great, but almost 99.873%. That was a fictional number. by the
Yeah.
way.
I was he's getting
It's
real
all
specific.
all of that digital stuff has been compressed.
Compressed.
And so the thing you get with vinyl is it opens that range up.
Yeah.
And not only the frequencies, the intensity, the levels, the volume, all of those things are freed up, and so you've got that much more range in
Yeah,
vinyl.
it's
that you
so
don't have.
the sound difference too.
Yeah.
You know?
You actually get to feel like,
Yeah,
the
the
energy,
energy
from,
behind
from
it.
Yeah.
The
So
tree.
I'm gonna pull out some of these records and have Mr. Fields go through some of these. Just and it's actually my buddy Chase that got me to start collecting these. Some of these are from my grandma, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
So that's fun.
That is good.
You might know Mac Davis.
Yeah, I sure do.
Can we
This
show
one-
this on stream?
He was,
Yeah.
he was a hottie back in the
Yeah.
day.
And this one's from my other grandma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I grew up with this. This
Yeah.
is good stuff.
I
Lionel
like
is
Lionel
good.
Richie.
Yeah,
Lionel Richie
was
Um,
good.
This is another one
Good
from my
writer.
grandma.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
Jeez,
an
I might-
original right
I
there.
might-
Just start
I
stuffing
might
it in your
walk
jacket.
over that one
I'm walking in.
there.
Yeah, that
Oh,
one's
that's good.
that one's one of my favorites of all time, and
Wow.
that's an original from Red Sylvine.
Good
So
heck.
this one, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Metallica's Ride
Yeah.
the
That's
Lightning.
one.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's good.
This is one that my grandpa always played for us.
Fun.
So
That's good.
this is before they had CDs, kids. Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
This one cost me a bit of money because this is an original from 1980. AC/DC's Back in Black. So
That's a big one.
that is the third most sold album in the world.
Hmm.
And I was kind of blown away when I heard that. The number one is Eagles' Hotel California.
Oh,
At number two is Michael Jackson's Thriller album, and at number three is AC/DC's Back in Black. So, and then Roy Clark. I don't know if
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Roy Clark, but
Yeah, he was a heck of a picker. That one of the best ever.
yeah, then he's another reason I actually started playing guitar. Was Grandpa would always play Roy Clark for
Yeah.
me, and so
Yeah.
that was pretty good to listen to, and it kind of intrigued me. And then I heard that. So it's kind of fun. Records are coming back, and
Yeah.
it's cool to see. And they're a lot of these artists that are kind of new are releasing in vinyl now. And
Yeah.
so, what do you think the vinyl? Why do you think it's coming back? Do you think it's just kind of
The coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's all gonna go downhill, and this is the only music we're gonna have.
That's right.
Do you think it's a resurgence
You know,
just
I-
because of?
I think it was just a novelty at first.
Yeah.
But I think as people started hearing it, I think it was apparent to them that extra range was different, new.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
That's cool. Yeah, and it's exploded. It's huge now. You go into the music stores and even
Like, where the heck's all the CDs? Look at these big
Yeah,
old things.
they're everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun. You can get. I got that one for $80. That record player. So pretty cool. You can go get one of those. Get your first album I got was of course Back in Black, but it's kind of fun to see how that's coming back. So. What's another thing I was gonna ask? I had another question. It slipped my mind.
Pull it together, Jake.
So how do you think? Oh, this is what it was. Do you think? And one thing that I've noticed with the older music is there's a lot more effort put into the music itself. Because back in the day, you had to play instruments and you recorded it. You went into a studio. There was a lot more emotion, in my opinion, put behind the music. With modern music, I
You just
feel
put little in front of your rap name.
well, I feel that it's lost a lot of its emotion behind the music because a lot of it's electronically done.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? Whereas it's because that's my opinion is I'll listen to a modern song and it just doesn't have the soul, I guess,
Yeah.
put behind it.
I think there's a couple of things, and the first thing is electronics. So much of it is done for us.
Yeah.
So much of the work is done for us that all you got to do is kind of put it together and go. So that by itself is going to take away a lot of the feeling and emotional impact to begin with. Then here's the other thing, and this is just me again, but there has been so much music over recorded history
Yeah.
that I wonder, and I'm not preaching this as gospel, but I wonder if there are real original melodies left to be written. I don't know if there are. I hope there
Yeah.
are, because that's life to me. But
Yeah.
But like was alluded to a little while ago, you'll hear a band and their song will sound just like somebody else's song.
Right.
It's really getting pretty tough
It's hard to find
to
something
come up
Yeah.
with an original melody.
Mhm.
I mean, most of especially now, modern music, they're taking from 80s, 90s. I mean, they're going back to like 50s now
That's
too.
right.
50s blues. I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
a
and
lot of modern
and if
music.
if you think about going clear back as far as the Monks go,
Yeah.
you know, those melodies are out there in the air. And I remember when I was in theory class in college, and of course we had to be creative and write things, and I frankly couldn't come up with anything that was very original.
Right.
About all I could do was take a melody that was somebody else's and build something underneath it to make an arrangement that was a little bit different, maybe
Mhm.
novel or new. So those two things, just the idea that, you know, these little melodic patterns are pretty tough to come by. Original patterns are
Yeah.
pretty tough to come by these days, and just that the electronic age, the digital age, is kind of
So,
let us sit back in our
sit
laurels.
back.
It's a little bit of
really
a-
not
a-
put
We're
that
becoming
word
lazy.
love into
Lazy.
it's a little bit of
Yeah.
a crutch.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you guys have any more questions?
I don't.
You want to know anything about Mr. Shields here?
I went to high school with him.
Open book.
Open book. He is an open book.
I know
Uh,
you sing, or you get yelled at.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying. I'm just not very good.
Well, here's another thing that I never really understood till it's about senior year and even junior year, was Mr. Shields he has an ear for you could pick one person out of the choir.
Oh, you heard my horrible singing? Is that what
You
it was?
could pick one person out of the choir that needed to work on it, and that was amazing to me. And just being able to dial that in, because you knew what it should sound like, you know,
Oh yeah.
and being able to pull an alto out of this entire group of altos that, hey, that's a little bit off, we need to adjust just a bit. How do you do that?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Years of
But it
practice.
is awfully important to be able to hear that if you want something to be high quality. If
Right.
you want it as close to perfection as it can possibly be, then you got to have that. I'll tell you what's really funny about what you're saying is when I was working with adolescent and teenage
Yeah.
girls, and they like to gossip and talk, and so we would be stopped at a break or something, and I'd be doing something or saying something, and the girls would be having their gossip up there, and I could hear every word they were saying. I'd comment on it. Looks on their faces was pretty good. That was valuable for me.
Well,
That was one of my favorite
that's pretty
things.
funny because the room is shaped to be very acoustic.
Yes,
You can
yes,
hear,
absolutely.
and they don't think you can, but everything goes to the front of the classroom. So it's pretty funny.
That was fun.
Yeah. Anything else?
High school was farther back for me,
Yeah.
so it's hard to remember.
My girlfriend asked, "How was your day today?"
Today was great. I worked with a bunch of little kids, and of course, social distancing required me to be online.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm doing a teletherapy sessions with all my little ones, but it's just like having a whole bunch more grandkids. I
Yeah.
really enjoy interacting with those kids, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
It's cool. That's
Great.
awesome. That's
So, do
awesome.
you prefer to work with high school students, or do you working with smaller children?
Well, I miss high school kids,
Mhm.
but I really am loving working with the little kids. It's the reason because first of all, they listen to me.
Yeah.
That's
that's
great.
the-
I mean,
That's
it's
fun.
really
Priority.
crazy. They listen to me, and they actually try to please me, which is
Right.
which
yeah.
is lost
Uh-huh.
once you get to high school.
yeah.
That's pretty much out the
Yeah.
door. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
it's been nice motivating them to work and change and fix their speech, and that's been fun. That's been a lot of fun and a good change for me this late in life.
That's awesome. All right. Well, Mr. Shields, thank you for being here today. This has been awesome. I've
Thank you.
been wanting to do this for a while. I just haven't reached out to you, and I saw you walking out on the track and
Yeah.
getting your exercise in. I thought I might as well ask him, see if he's doing anything today. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Oh, my girlfriend has one more question there. Did I ever get in trouble?
Yeah, a couple times.
Couple times. There were a couple times I was probably goofing off with the guys in the back, not really paying attention. So
Nothing real serious. Nothing that everybody didn't do or
Right.
doesn't do.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
Yeah, I
nothing
did that
major.
plenty.
Yeah.
They usually made sure we weren't in the same group. So
Yeah, yeah.
once we get with our friends, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
true.
yep. Anyway, thank you for being here. This has been a lot of
Thank
fun. Guys, check out the podcast wherever you get podcasts, The JH Show. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. And that is all for today. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.